Okay, we are live. We're just going live across various social media platforms. I am Kitty Shambliss of Loving Without Boundaries, and I am super excited to be here with Coach B. We have an incredible topic today called the power of why in the consensual non-monogamy vision. And before we get started, today is a really big day. It's Tuesday, October 1st, which for anyone who has been watching our different social media channels is the last voting day for the Women in Podcasting Awards. And our Loving Without Boundaries podcast, we are honored and deeply privileged to be nominated in the relationships category as a potential winner of the Women in Podcasting Awards within that category. So if you have voted, thank you from the bottom of my heart for supporting women voices in the podcasting industry. If you haven't voted yet and you would like to cast your vote, and by the way, you can cast more than one vote. It's per category. So we'll put a link underneath this if you would like to cast your vote. And please go ahead into that link and do so. Only takes a minute, and we honor you celebrating women voices around the globe in sharing their message and their missions. So with that, I'm going to give the mic over to Coach B here for our important topic today, and we'll get started.
Yeah, thank you, Kiri. Happy Tuesday, everyone, and a very warm welcome to our new members in this ever-growing, amazing Facebook community. So today we're gonna talk about something that's deeply connected to how we navigate our CNM relationships, how much we're connected to our vision, to our goals, to the end result, and what experience are we having while we keep moving towards our goals. So as a mindset coach, I like to find entry points, like really powerful perspectives that may seem simple, yet can have a really big impact in our life and relationship satisfaction. And getting connected with your why is one of those places that you really get grounded in that can create considerably more ease in how you navigate your CNM relationships. And I want to make a distinction between the what and the why. So your CNM vision comes together from the what and the why. So the what would be like the type of relationship structure that you want to have, the financial distribution, the type of holidays that you want to go, how many partners would you ideally have. So this is the what, and the why would be what drives that particular vision, the what, like what are the underlying needs, what are the values that you want to bring to life in that particular vision, and what are the emotions and the body sensations that you would like to experience when you not only craft that vision, when you move toward that vision, and when you achieve that vision. And this is often a part that we overlook, like, why is this specifically important to me? What would this give me? And why is this important in CNM context is because I just want to give you two examples. There are many, many ways that connected to the why can really help us to just two examples that I want to mention is there's so much, often so much shame and fears and guilt and lots of cultural conditioning noise that can pop up when we craft our CNM vision and move towards achieving our goals. And even on a daily basis, when we create boundaries, for example, or advocate for our needs, when we make requests, so many fears can pop up. And once we get connected to the why, our needs, our values, and emotions, or body sensations that we would like to experience, that can help us ground like a solid oak tree. So it's gonna create a space around us. Just imagine yourself in a bubble or a sphere that is safe, and you can notice your disempowering thoughts and fears just swimming by at the outside of this sphere. And inside, you can be really solid, like no matter what happens, no matter what family says, no matter what society has, no matter what part of fears pop up inside of you, you stay solid, grounded in your vision. And that can help you move beyond guilt, shame, and fear, for example. And another thing why the why is important, and I really love this quote, it helped me a lot on my journey, is because when the why is strong, the how is easy, or definitely easier because it falls into place. And why this is important in goal achievement? Because when we only focus on the what, like what type of, for example, relationship structures do I want to have, or communications or boundaries a year from now, 5 years from now. If we're not connected emotionally, then we may run the risk that if bumps appear on the road, that we start questioning and doubting ourselves, and we fall apart and maybe give up, thinking that this lifestyle is not for us because we keep having struggles, because we're still struggling with jealousy 2 years down the road. But when we connect it to the emotional experiences, that can help us move through those blocks. So basically, we use the future to pull us through the challenges that we experience in the present. But these are just two things that I noticed in my life and working with amazing, beautiful people such as yourself, that how getting connected to that deep why can help us on our journey.
Mhm. Such a beautiful, beautiful topic. And I love the different analogies that you're using to help people understand a little bit more what you're referring to. And for anyone who hasn't seen it, there is a wonderful TED Talk called The Power of Why that is by Simon Sinek. It's Sinek. That's a really beautiful topic that talks about, from a business perspective, how starting with the why on the inside, as your focal point, and then kind of going out from there, how important that is from a priority perspective, and just really knowing where to put your focus and your attention. But I love how you explained it as well, B. That was quite beautiful, and I'd love to give the mic over to you again.
Yeah, I really love that you mentioned Simon Sinek, because I'm a real fan, and I'm also a real fan of tapping into different resources or areas of life. Where success is, whether it's special forces like special soldiers or business area, what works, I keep adapting it to my relational life and other areas of your life. So I really appreciate that you mentioned that. So now that we discuss like why the why is important, I want to touch on a few points that I see not only in my life but in the life of others, like what can happen if we're not really connected, not yet connected deeply to this deep drive inside of us. So what can appear in relationships, unfortunately, is that we may get stuck in a past hurt loop. So instead of focusing on the future, let this beautiful why pull us, the emotions and values that we want to experience, we might tend to default back to recycling future hurt with our partners instead of finding constructive solutions. This is a place where we have constant fights and unresolved conflicts and possibly blame and resentment, because if I don't know specifically what I need and what's important to me, it's so easy to default back to pointing the finger outwards and wanting to fix my environment and wanting to fix the other person so that I can feel okay. So what that shows is that sometimes if we're not connected with the why, we can misunderstand what's a need and what's a strategy. So when I know my need, that gives me a better chance, an awesome chance to find a constructive strategy. While if I'm out of touch with my needs and emotions and body sensations that I want to experience, I'll likely come up with a destructive strategy. For example, to give the need for safety, because that's a beautiful, basic human need that we want to get met, the need for safety. And if I'm not in touch with what else is that I want to experience in my relationships, friendship, love, kindness, connection, transparency, beauty, quality, and I only default back to safety, it can happen that my strategy to get that safety need met is going to be through people pleasing, rescuing, making demands, for example, that it's highly destructive to me and my relationship as well. So that's just one of the ways that the lack of connected to the why can show up, and also in a way of suppressed needs. Because if I don't specifically know like what I want and I'm not connected to that, I'm likely gonna have a growing resentment because I have this vague sense that I'm suppressing myself. So it's possible that I'm gonna end up in just go along to get along type of relationships.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing all of that, B. And I'll just underscore a few really important points that you were leaning towards. And one is for anybody that is unfamiliar, what exactly is a need? I'll give you a basic understanding and definition of that. So a need that we all have as human beings is a beautiful, life affirming, and positive need that we have as our part of our shared humanity. And they're never in conflict. It may seem sometimes like those needs are in conflict, but it can be really a crisis of imagination, of not knowing how to get creative and work together as a team to figure out how can we work together in a collaborative, sort of beautiful way to look to get both of our needs met, and doing that from a place of mutual respect, of balance in the relationship, like a balance of power and a balance of really listening to each other so it's not too one-sided. And then our strategies to get those needs met, those can be in conflict. The strategy is the how. We were talking about the why, the what, or the how. The strategy can be the how of, here's how I believe I want to get my need met. But we can get tunnel vision and start to think, oh, there's only one way I can get this need met, when that's just not the case. That's why I say it can be a crisis of imagination to get clear on all the different ways that we can be looking to get our needs met, all the different strategies, all the different hows, right? So I just want to make that distinction, but thank you for everything that you shared so far, B, and I'll go ahead and give the mic back over to you.
That's so important that you shared, Kiri, and something occurred to me when you talked about the crisis of imagination and creativity, and I want to share something how connecting with that why really helped me with the strategy. So at the beginning of my consensual monogamous journey, I had no proof of concept that it's doable for me. All I had is past relationships with lots of struggles, with lots of unhealthy behaviors from my side, from my partner's side. So basically, I could have defaulted back to considering the past as it's going to be the present and the future, like living in the limitations of the past. But once I tapped into the emotions that I wanted to experience and the values that I wanted to bring into my life, long-term in consensual non-monogamy, everything just kicked into place. I couldn't have bothered any less about the past limitations or the future fears. This emotional place was so strong that it pulled me toward my future. That helped me to reach out to Kiri as well, and that helped me create tons of transformations in my life, and I just never stopped. And I also want to mention something that some of us, and I'm definitely one of those people, maybe it's complex trauma history, or ADHD, or autism in my case, I don't know, that I sometimes have trouble visualizing specific future scenarios, like in detail, like this is how I can imagine my everyday look like, or this is the type of car or house that I want. And in this case, getting in touch with the emotions without the specific graphic details, it's really helpful for me, because I don't have to pressure myself that, oh, I need the specific details. No, it's important that I let my intuition and my emotional desires guide me on my journey.
It's so beautiful. Yeah. And I really just appreciate everything that you've been sharing on this important topic. And we can, I think, start to transition into, how do you navigate some of this besides having the knowledge of what we've shared so far, as well as knowing that you can develop skills. There are different ways to navigate through this, whether that is doing your own research or working with a professional, whether that professional is a mentor or a coach or a therapist or whoever you identify with that really helps you. Or some people can read several books and apply what they learn. But what I have found is that sometimes folks may need a little bit more support than just doing their own research. They might need some hand holding. So some ways to think through this are, first, to get to know what are your big whys. One question, a journaling prompt that you can think about is, what are my 5 to thrive? And maybe think about, what are the areas of my life that are really, really important, that are my why, like my purpose, like why I'm here. And to really amplify that, you can even tie that back into your identity. Who do you think of yourself when you think about the best version of you and calling forth the best version of you? Who is that? What are some of the traits? What are some of the qualities that that version of you has? So that's number one. Another is to make your whys repeatable and recallable. So once you get the clarity around what your big whys are. How can you put them in your world so that you don't forget? It's one thing to have an aha moment, but if you leave that moment there and you don't take it with you into the future, it was a fun little cool breakthrough moment, but you're not actually putting it into action. So getting into action of maybe writing those whys down on an index card, maybe putting that on your bathroom mirror, or having a sheet of paper that you put next to your bedside that you look at when you wake up or when you go to sleep. How can you find a way that works for you to bring that forward into your everyday world? And then another is knowing that you can develop communication tools so that you can assertively, while still respectfully and compassionately, communicate your positive needs out loud to your loved ones, to your family, to your friends, because it can be very counterproductive and self-sabotaging to expect other people to read your mind, right? And I know we've all done it, including myself, but that doesn't actually help the relationship. So knowing that it's really our job from a place of personal responsibility to be able to speak up for ourselves, advocate for our needs. And again, our delivery, our tone, our body language is really important as we're doing that. So I wanted to mention that, and I'll see, B, if you wanted to stack on to any of that before we start to wrap it up.
Yes, super important point. To be respectful of our time, I like to close with a few questions, if that's okay, Kitty.
Oh, sure.
Because I prepped with 3 questions, and I'm going to put them into the Facebook group as well under this video. So the first is similar to what you gave this amazing audience. Like, what are your top 5 most cherished emotions that are important for you to experience in your CNM relationships? Question 2, when faced with challenges, what's one empowering thought that you can remind yourself of to help you stay connected to your relationship vision, including the what and the why? So we talked about, or Kitty talked about, like, how can you make this repeatable? So what can be maybe a mantra that you say to yourself that even if you get triggered, facing challenges, it pulls you back into that important identity that can bring about that relationship vision that you want to move towards. And question 3 is, what is a simple gesture you can make today to support your relationship vision?
Beautiful questions. Thank you for just all the love and joy and support you bring to our community. So if what we're saying is resonating with you, if you realize like, hey, I've been trying to figure this out on my own, this is making sense, but you know that you may want some more support. Maybe you want to see if working with a mentor or a coach and being surrounded by a loving community who's on the same journey of growth, of getting skills and strategies to be able to navigate all this. It starts with a phone call. That's how B originally reached out to me, gosh, a number of years ago now. And it all started with her going to this very link. So lovingwithoutboundaries.com/apply. That simply takes you right into my calendar. Just find a time that works for you. There'll be a very brief form for you to fill out that just sets us up for success on that call, giving me a little bit of context for our conversation. And then we'll simply meet there and we'll put our heads together and talk about putting together a game plan and a custom step-by-step roadmap for what getting that type of help can look like for you. And if we're not a fit or the timing isn't off, you have my word that I will let you know that, and I will do my best to steer you in the best direction for you based on what we discover on that call together. So again, that's lovingwithoutboundaries.com/apply. Know that we care about you. We are here for you. If you are looking for a community, we have a free online community on Facebook. If you do a search for Loving Without Boundaries, Healthy Open Relationships and Lifestyle Freedom. And again, don't forget, if you would like to vote for the Women in Podcasting Awards, Loving Without Boundaries, our podcast that is 254 episodes strong, is in the relationships category. And we'll make sure to put that link, or you can find it on all of our social media. So B, thank you so much for this topic. And everyone have a beautiful week. And we will see you for our next Facebook Live. Take care for now. Bye-bye.